But the thing is, okay, so let's veer back towards our original Charlie Kirk thing. So
Uh,
young people are being told strange rules. I think young people are more impressionable now than ever. That's what I
yep.
think. Okay,
Super.
yeah, and for us, we got to accept that that's a fact, and for us, that could be a good thing, right?
Right.
We market, right? We create content to make people look at that content. We in essence we benefit from us being able to influence people into decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
the
right.
fact that young people are so impressionable, that's a good thing for us. But we got to. I think people just need to be aware. It's one of those things where it's like if if there's a sign, okay, if there's a if there's a cast iron skillet on a stove with a flame going underneath it, right? And you are even somewhat observant, you probably won't grab it, right? And
Yeah.
if you do and get burned on that first time, okay, maybe you just didn't see it, right? But if you keep grabbing it, that's your damn fault, right? Once you become aware that the pot could be potentially hot and you keep grabbing it, that's your problem. Okay, that's how I look at marketing. You know, it's it's your individual job to understand that marketing is trying to sell you stuff. We're trying to make you into a consumer, right? That's our
Yeah.
job, is to make you consume, right? And if you keep consuming, you should educate yourself about what it is that marketing is trying to do to you, right? You should learn how to spot it, right? You should be able to look at the phone call coming in, answering it, and hearing, "Hey, this is John from Green Solutions," and you should just hang up. They're going to try to sell you something, right? Oh, did you know that you can get a rebate on click, right? They're going to say something to try to sell you something. Okay,
Right.
you should know that rather than take the phone call and get suckered into something. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
take that phone call and get suckered into it, that's your fault.
The fault.
Okay. If you receive a letter in the mail that looks like an official tax form and the fine print on the bottom says this is not an official tax form, that's your fault. Okay. And so impressionable youth. Okay. So this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this. So Charlie Kirk, he led a movement. Okay. At the same time, he's an online influencer. He's a content creator. His
Mm-hmm.
job is to promote a certain way of thinking. Okay. He reaches out and his content promotes a certain way of thinking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He provides a sensible argument as to why you should think his way. That's what he's trying to do. And he's trying to reach out to young people who possibly haven't had their ideas cemented yet,
Right.
to try to
Okay.
get them to think a certain way. Okay? Because he believes in those certain way of thinking. Well, I assume he does. And that's his job now, is to promote that way of life, that way of thinking. Okay? Now the guy who is suspected of I'm not sure what the words that'll get us dinged are. So let's call it unlifing him or or reverse living him, whatever you. I'm not sure what word will get
That
us.
took him out.
Took him out. Yeah, the guy who ended him. Okay,
I landed him.
his background. Okay, he's 22 years old, I believe. He's 22 years old, I think. A lot of information is coming out about the guy now, and both sides are trying to spin it. But the way I look at him is he's not, and remember, we're talking about this when there's not any real answers yet. All speculation. But he looks to me like somebody who's somewhat confused. I think this is what happened to the guy. From what I know, he comes from a conservative family.
Mm-hmm.
His parents are registered Republicans. Okay, his father's in law enforcement. I'm not sure if he's still active, but he's either active law enforcement or he's retired law enforcement. Okay, they're Mormons, from what I understand. They
Yep.
live in they
Woo!
live in Utah. Okay,
Yeah.
so And he grew up with, I mean, like, I'm not sure how much money they, but he grew up in a comfortable background. Okay. Just like any regular middle American person, he was a firearms enthusiast. He, like his father hunted, right? A lot of Americans in the middle of this country grow up with firearms. Okay. It's not like the coast. I mean, like in California, when Californians think of firearms, they think of weapons in the hands of criminals, like gang members, or they
Yeah.
think or they
Or
think
we
of,
shooting
yeah, shooting
sideways.
sideways, or they think of weapons in the hands of gun enthusiasts who just collect them to have them, right?
Right.
In the rest of the country, guns have a purpose, right? And they're bought and used as such. Okay, so people hunt, and people will argue who needs to hunt now. I mean, but it's a tradition, and I can see
You
that.
got to teach your kids how to hunt in
Yeah,
Utah.
yeah.
Get out of here with that.
I mean, like some
I,
people are on traditional things, right?
Kirk,
those are people who don't live in traditional places.
Yeah,
There's places where you need to teach your kids how to do that.
yeah.
hunting is necessary.
And
Yeah.
it's a good skill to have in case everything just hits the fan someday, right?
Right.
Yeah, man.
If everything hits the fan someday, you're going to want people with certain skills around you, and like, but so that's his background. That's where he comes from. Okay,
Mhm.
he was a bright kid in high school. He got some form of a scholarship to go to a good university, and from what I understand, within the first year of going there,
He
he
dropped out.
dropped out and he became an electrician's apprentice.
Mhm.
Right. And things changed. See, the pandemic happened to this kid, right? What year is pandemic? 2019 through
20. I'd just say 2020.
2020. 20. Yeah. So that's only like 5. So this kid would have been how old at the time? So he's 22 now. 5 years ago, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, 17, 18.
Yeah.
16 probably.
Yeah. This thing would have cut right at the end of his high school. Like he probably wouldn't have walked to graduation. I mean, like people talk about.
He probably didn't walk in his
Yeah.
graduation.
And so he became isolated, right? He became
Mhm.
isolated in a very formative part of his life. Right?
Yep.
And I'm not sure if you noticed this, but if you watch certain things, and Quentin, you got to get more involved in watching stuff like reels, and if you get on Facebook and watch reels or get on Instagram and look, if you watch videos all the way through, and you watch it multiple, you'll start getting more of the same, right? So
Yeah.
a kid who has a certain kind of belief might start watching content on a computer or on a phone, and pretty soon he's just getting the same thing thrown at him over and over and over again.
Mhm.
It can
Understand.
really change the way you think about things,
It does.
right? Or you start playing video games, and when you're playing video games in a sequestered environment, a lot of times you are online playing against other people and you're talking back and forth. And who's influencing you now, right? You're being influenced by the media that the algorithm decides you need to see because of things you've looked at before,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then now you're online gaming, and people you've never seen, but you know their you know the game handles, and it's games where, like, when you take people out in these
Shooting at
games,
each
you're
other.
killing each other, and then you're teabagging them after you kill them, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's crazy. So I think that's what I mean. So he became radicalized over time to think differently, and this is what's crazy. So he did inscribe his ammunition with messages, and I found out what they mean. Okay, this is what I found out about the messages. So I think there's 3 or 4 shell casings inscribed. He only fired one of them. The others are intact. The one he did fire was still in the weapon because it's a bolt action rifle. So it was still in the chamber. So when the weapon was found, there was the fired casing still in the chamber and 3 unfired casings in the internal magazine underneath it. And he engraved them all with a message, right? So one of them said, "Hey, fascist, catch." Okay, that's one of the messages. And along with that, it was like 2 up arrows, a right arrow, and I forget, there's a certain sequence of arrows. It turns out that is a arrow sequence to to do some, I mean, to do some, to unlock some sort of a move in a video game.
Yeah.
It's
I,
called
I
Hellspawn or
I hate
Hell
to
something.
wait. I gotta just harp on this point because it just. I'm telling you, this is Generation YN, right? These people have never experienced fascism, but
Yeah,
they want to call people fascists. That's why I'm talking about. Like, people are just talking about things that they've never
yeah,
experienced, don't know anything about, but are getting truly provoked about it. Like, we asked one of our young coworkers, like, we lived during chickenpox. You even know what chickenpox is? She was like, "What, a chicken pot pie?" And that, I'm telling you, these kids don't know what they're talking
yeah.
about. Like, he don't like he can't catch fascists. Charlie Kirk was not no fascist. Like, where does this
Well,
come from?
okay. So the video game that comes from, okay.
Uh,
There's there's an element.
but they
Okay,
was killing Mussolini in the video
no,
game.
no, no. It's a video game where it's like it feels very Starship Troopers ish. In
Uh,
Starship Troopers, the good guys, the guys hunting the bugs, it was a fascist government running things. So
uh,
that's the kind of feel it had. I mean, like the video game has it's in a fascist democracy run world. Anyway, so
yeah.
from the way that from his inscriptions, they're all from online games or from memes. Okay, he spends a lot of time on. Okay, so the other one is a song called Bella Ciao, which has had a resurgent popularity. It was a song sung by anti-fascists, I think, during World War II in Italy, and now it had resurgence in memes recently. And then the other one was, oh, this is a weird one. The other one was Notice's Bulge. And then there's this uwu face. And then it has something to do with a furry meme. Okay. So we're not saying the guy's a furry. We're not saying that he is with Antifa, but everything that I mean, it's coming from a bunch of different angles, but it's all coming from one place. It's all coming from online gaming or memes. Right? What he believes in is really kind of jumbled. Right? But so more news will come
Sounds like
out.
a YN.
More news will come out, but it seems now I'm saying this before I verified shit, right? I haven't verified anything, but I believe that this gentleman's roommate is currently transitioning male to female,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been speculated that they're not just roommates.
He was in
Okay,
love.
I'm saying that right now with no proof that they're more than just roommates. I'm saying out
Mm-hmm.
loud that there's speculation that they're more than just roommates. I'm not saying that they are, but there's
Yeah, they
speculation.
wanted to be a trans activist. That's what they wanted to be.
Who knows? So things will come out, right? But you know, he's he's not a far right person. If he was ever a far right person, he's not anymore. He's made he's made a move to something else, and I don't want to say he's a far left person. I'm just going to say he's somebody who's been radicalized and triggered by a bunch of conflicting things, and I see him as a confused person.
He was, because I mean they said that they recently had a debate, like a family debate about Charlie Kirk coming to town, and I guess the kid lost the debate.
Mm.
So I can see where it's like "fuck you, mom," like for lack of
I'll
better
show you,
word.
mom.
Yeah, for whatever, dad. He's a fascist. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And where it's like, the whole thing, my thought process and like in my algorithm, right? I have, of course, like one of the things that hit my algorithm during this whole process of Charlie Kirk passing away is people praising his death.
Mm.
That's been a hard one to kind of
That's
swallow.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of how one feels about somebody, you shouldn't call for their death or praise it at all, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's just wrong. There's okay. So people will say that, and that oh, but this guy has pushed for public, has put the voice out there that there should be public executions, right? But the thing is that what's a public execution? Is it somebody arbitrarily killing somebody that they don't like? It's
No.
not. It is somebody who was arrested, tried, and convicted and sentenced to death, and rather than kill them, execute them privately, it's going to be done. And in the U.S., that's how it used to be. Executions were public in the past, right? And when I say the past, we're talking like 1890 something, early 1900s. I believe that the people who killed Grover Cleveland, the president of the United States, Grover, he was killed by an anarchist. Okay, and I think that it was a husband and wife scenario. They were both hung publicly. That's how it was done in the past. Executions were public.
And that, but I think if we're saying public execution, it's like me personally, I wouldn't want to see a public execution. I
Oh
have
no,
enough.
you don't want to see that. But the thing is,
Yeah,
but they act as deterrents. They act as,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It acts where it's like when you see that, you don't want to be like him. You don't want to go out like
yeah.
that guy.
See, the thing is, but I think a person calling for that isn't spewing hate, right? They're
It's a
basically,
thing.
they're basically. There's some people that believe that human beings won't react to anything except for the extremes, right? If you get somebody who is committing crimes, they will continue to commit crimes until you show them something that they're unwilling to accept, right?
Right.
It's like, I mean, people regularly commit crimes, get caught, serve the time, get out, do it again because they can do the time, right? Like, I can take that. And they do it again until like
Yeah.
they face something that they're unwilling to accept the consequence. I mean, like, oh,
Like cutting off your
like
hand.
I ain't doing that because this could happen, right? This
Yep.
could happen to me, and that's enough that I ain't gonna do this,
Mhm.
right? And there's some people who believe that that is the mentality that you have to be running with. Other people try to look at human beings more favorably and say, "Oh, people aren't like that. You can rehabilitate." I tend to believe, for the most part, yes, there are people who react favorably towards rehabilitation, but not the majority of people.
No.
I think the majority of people okay, the average person who commits acts that require punishment needs punishment that they refuse to accept
Mm-hmm.
to be able to deter them from committing crime.
True.
A lot of people out there are going to keep doing it until you tell them that something's going to happen that they can't take.
Right.
Right.
That's how I believe. I mean, like, and I guess that's what this with Charlie Kirk, probably that's how he probably looked at people. It's like, you just you hit him with a penalty that scares them enough that they won't do it. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
hit them with a penalty strong enough, they'll keep doing it. It's not about, I don't think it's about educating people, because I think that bad people will just do stuff that's bad. Some people are driven there by circumstance, but other people just like shortcuts.
Yeah. Certain people are genuine bad people.
Yeah. And,
It
and
is what
man,
it is.
even in the white collar world, there are so many people who commit white collar crimes when they have regular jobs, right?
Mhm.
Those are the same thing. They're just bad people too, right?
Right. They're
Oh,
just
that
gonna
was,
take a
it's
they're
like,
gonna
oh,
take a
that was
turn risk.
illegal, you know?
I didn't
Oops.
know that. You
Oh,
lying
my
to
bad.
yourself.
I had to pay taxes on that? Really? That's like, I just saw a news article. So these I think this is in Orange County. These twins, they have like an Asian name. They're either going to be Chinese. I heard it in the radio this morning.
Mhm.
They got busted for not reporting over $1 million in taxable income. And no, it's basically it's a felony level thing, right? What they're being busted for. Do you know what they were doing for a business to make that kind of money?
What?
What?
They were booking tea times at all of the at all the golf courses they possibly could, and reselling them for more money.
Oh wow.
It's a common practice. Okay,
That seems very common, but why they didn't pay taxes on it?
because they're stupid. You know, that's
that
they figured that they could get away with it, because it's a business, right?
was a good business.
It's
That
a
was the
business.
smartest
They,
part
I
in
mean,
a
they
while.
made, I forget. I mean, it's enough from what I understand. It's enough that the numbers may not be right here, but basically, they needed to declare like over $1 million in income that they did not declare.
Says 1.1.
$1 million
1.1 million
in
for
unpaid taxes or in revenue.
in 2022 and 2022 and 23 tax years. 1.1. Kim's nearly 700,000 and combined with their MRI technician jobs, they failed to report more than 1.1 million for 2022 and
There you go.
2020.
So they ran a 7-figure business and didn't say they did it. That's criminal. Okay, that's criminal. Okay, and just the way that they did it, you know, they buying up tea times and then scalping them, right? That actually is against municipal codes. Okay, so that's, as a business, technically it's illegal too, right? It's a white collar kind of illegal, but it's illegal. Definitely not reporting at the IRS is illegal, right? Now these are white collar guys, right? They're criminals. Okay, everything about what they did, it's like the way they made the money, though it seems like some weird loophole, but it's illegal. Okay, they made the money illegally, and then they didn't declare it at all, which is definitely illegal. So yeah, these guys are criminal. Okay, they're gonna keep doing this until they're hit with a penalty that they don't want to get busted back to again, right? And guys like this, I think these guys are gonna do time,
Definitely gonna do some time.
right? But the problem is this: is that they might end up in a soft place that allows them to build contacts.
Ooh, they come out super criminals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're going to come out super white collar criminals, right? That's the
super white
problem.
collar. They're gonna figure out what they do wrong. Like
Yeah.
it's just like I like. I mean, I don't think he did it, which I'm surprised he hasn't. But we've talked about the drug dealer Big Meech.
Yeah.
Before Big Meech got out, I remember he had a phone call and he was talking about what he was going to do. He was like, "I'm gonna teach kids how to sell drugs, get away with it." And I was like, "Yeah, we don't need him back on the streets
He's gonna
at
write a
all."
he's gonna write an "If I Did It" book, right?
Yeah, like man, if you don't, man, get back to jail. Like you know what I'm saying? Thankfully, because I mean, like he had other little scandals. Like you know, of course, he had like a welcome home Big Meech concert or something like that, where everybody's like, "Why are we celebrating this guy getting out of jail?" And it just went down the drain.
Yeah.
Where I was like, it should have kind of went down the drain. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Big Meech shouldn't make money or anything like that. I'm saying that a person like Big Meech, like teach us how not to sell drugs. Teach us how to hustle in different ways. You need to go hustle doing something else, run up a bag, and do the same thing that you were doing on the on the drug side of things. Like this morning, like we talked about the whole Young Thug situation a
Mm-hmm.
couple podcasts ago, right? And I introduced a new character to you guys named Rollo.
Yeah.
Well, Rollo was going crazy on the internet today because he had an interview. This is his first interview, big interview since the whole Young Thug drama, right? Rollo is a person where he went to jail for smuggling pounds of weed on a private jets, right?
Yeah.
Came in, he talked about now he's doing real estate. Pretty much he was racking up pretty much how he was explaining it in the interview today was he was racking up streaming money while he was in jail. He said his streams, and it could be capped, but it's just, I'm just gonna go by what he says. He said that he was getting anywhere between $70,000 to $80,000 a month off of streaming while he was in jail.
Okay.
He was in jail around like 3-4 years. He gets out of jail and he took that a lot of the money that while he was in jail, what he was doing is taking that money and buying and purchasing land. One of the reasons why Rollo is a very interesting character is before he went to jail, he was taking this drug and rap money and he was buying up apartments in the metro Atlanta area,
Okay.
rebuilding them, and he built a compound called Pakistan.
Why is it called
So
Pakistan?
because he converted to being a Muslim.
Okay.
So he converted to being Muslim. He got all of his partners to convert to being Muslim, and they called it Pakistan. They were praying in Pakistan, doing all types of stuff. People were living in Pakistan for free. One of the things that I thought was genius, but him and the cameraman fell out. There was a cameraman that used to be associated with him that will film like a day in the life in Pakistan. So it's like they had a vlog going on in Pakistan.
Good for them.
So he gets out of jail, and now he has the new Pakistan, where it like he showed little bits and clips of it. It looks actually very, very nice. It looks nicer than the first Pakistan. And he just talked about it. He was like, I saw what I was doing in drugs, and he was like, when I applied it to real estate, it's the same thing. And once like we talked about like Rollo Young, like Rollo like 31. So it was like when I saw that, I'm like, that's a redemption story.
Yeah.
Don't talk about like, yeah, you did it, and you're not really trying to glorify it. But let's run it up on this. Because if you can sell drugs, you can sell anything.
I believe that.
When you really think about it.
But let's compare the two. Let's compare. Okay, so let's make sure we get the terminology right. Let's compare Rallo and Big Meech, right? Thing is that it is the responsibility of the consumer to be educated, right?
Right.
If both of these guys are creating content that they believe will work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's the consumer's responsibility to be educated. Big Meech creating how to get away with shit content, right?
Well, he didn't make the content.
He didn't make it.
He said that while he was in jail. I'm going to make a book. He said, I'm going to teach kids how to sell drugs and get away with it.
Okay,
That's
so
what he said.
now that he's out now, right? Now that he's out, what's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing. Like, to be honest with you, Big Meech kind of fell out of the spotlight. Like I said, he had a welcome home Big Meech concert.
Yeah,
and that went down the drain.
It went down, so it flopped.
It flopped, and then
that's good. Okay,
but he also had a kind of a partnership with 50 Cent, where 50 Cent had did a TV show on his life, and his son was playing him in the TV show.
Oh.
50 Cent like pretty much turned his back on Big Meech because like Big Meech was doing business with one of 50 Cent's ops, I'll just say, Rick Ross. 50 Cent and Rick Ross don't like each other. Meech was playing both sides. 50 wasn't feeling it. 50 kind of like stopped promoting the show and everything. And I remember that was actually I liked that show. BMF was actually a really, really good show to me. But 50 Cent wasn't pushing it no more. Now it ain't nothing.
Okay. So if a person can create whatever they want, here's the thing. If it were, and this is what I was explaining. I've always explained this, right? As a content creator, you start creating a variety of things to see what people want. Because in the end, what's successful is going to be the thing that you put out that people want to consume. Right. And sometimes the thing they want to consume is stupid.
Right.
Right. If you stumble upon a genre of content that is just idiotic, but it makes you money, as a business person, you'd be stupid not to keep doing it.
Right.
Right. So let's say that you try like 5 different varieties of content out there. You make videos on Minecraft. You make videos on like what's it called, vertical gardening. You make videos on homesteading, and let's say you're producing all these things, right? So you're throwing money in all these areas with different creators, and you're throwing money at them to have them create content. You fund a gun channel to, like, historical weapons maybe, or one of those crazy gun channels that basically does crazy things with guns. Like I saw one guy put a really high caliber handgun in cement.
Oh wow!
This was nuts. So what they did is that the weapon was the weapon was loaded, single round, as a revolver, and then the hammer was pulled back, and they poured cement into a Home Depot bucket, the big ass get her done type buckets. They poured cement in there, and as it set, they put the gun in almost up to the end of the end of the cylinder. So the gun was pretty much in there, and they let it dry that way. The gun was anchored in the cement, and then they did that so that they could film themselves pulling the trigger on it and seeing what would happen. Of course, they didn't hold it. They were hiding behind some body armor, like they had shields up, and they had a string with a pulley, and of course, and they had different guns set up like that, right?
Right.
Those things garner millions and millions of views, right?
Yeah, because I'll be watching them too.
Because you want to see what that's going to happen, right? It's like we're shooting at this 45-pound plate, like the kind of the 45-pound plate you use in the gym, right? With a variety of weapons until one of them makes it through. Really silly stuff, right? So you're producing all sorts. So you're producing a silly gun channel. You're producing a serious one. You're producing a homesteading channel. You're producing a crafting channel. You're producing a variety of things, right? Some doing Minecraft. You're producing somebody who's streaming they're playing Fortnite. They're streaming on Twitch. You're doing all this stuff. You're producing a blogger who's doing food blogging. You do a whole bunch of different stuff, and you do it for a period of time, and then you start seeing the numbers. And if you try like 15 different things, and 3 of them are really profitable, you would be dumb to not continue the 3, especially if the 3 didn't cost you a lot of money to produce.
Right.
So let's say 3 are extremely profitable. Okay, out of the 3, 1 of them costs almost nothing to make. The other 2 require more work, but not that much. So let's say 1 basically breaks even. Okay, it grosses a lot, but it breaks even because of the cost to produce it.
Okay.
The other one is, you got an ROI at 30%. And the last one, the ROI is like 400%. All 3 gross the same number. But that's the breakdown of, so you might do all 3, right? I mean, 1 breaks even because it's basically you can make that thing and you don't lose anything on it.
Right.
You don't make anything either, but you do pick up subscribers, right? It's probably a good idea to keep doing all 3, right? And let's say that the subject matter is really, really diverse. One of them is some silly blowing crap up gun channel, right? The other one is like the other one is a extremely liberal talking head, like some guy doing the quartering, except the opposite. Right. And another one is an extremely conservative channel, right? Let's say one's the quartering, one is a liberal version of the quartering, and the other one is some crazy exploding gun channel.
Right.
I produce all 3.
And see where it goes.
And I keep doing it until one of them is no longer profitable, and if it's not profitable, I'll drop it. But it could be non-profitable, but still pick up a lot of subs, which is still worth doing because you can always monetize a subscriber base to your other stuff, right?
Yeah. Or you could be like the quarter and it may not be profitable views, but you're selling coffee.
Yeah.
Supplements.
Yeah, who knows, right? But it's, money doesn't have a conscience. You're thinking about like, you can make...
That's a bar right there.
Yeah, you mean like some people don't believe in stimulants, right? Like there's some people who like, my body is a temple type people who basically will get out there and tell people, and this is how we're going to end the Charlie Kirk thing with this, is that the jury's still out. Well, the jury hasn't even convened, right? The guy isn't even convicted of doing it. But if he did do it, I personally don't think that he was an agent for any group of people. I just think he was confused and had some personal reasons. But in the end,
a really good shooter.
No, actually, he wasn't even really that good. 200 yards is, for somebody who has done any time with a hunting rifle, 200 yards is not hard.
Really?
Yeah. 200 yards. Okay, so when you actually hunt animals, okay, there is a distance at which most people will take shots, right? And it's a safe distance because you're looking for one shot. You want to be humane, and when you harvest animals, let's use that word, harvest. When you harvest animals, you want to be humane. So it's a single shot. Okay, single shots of the vitals, and it's over, right? The reasonable distance that most hunters, especially with like human-sized game, like we're talking deer, moose, like big stuff, right? The distance that they'll take it at will be 300 plus yards. They'll take that shot safely because they can put it in the vital area at that distance consistently every time, right? With a good weapon, a heavy enough round, and good enough optics. 300 yards, not an issue. Now there's extreme guys who take it out to like 1,000 yards. Okay, most hunters won't do that because they can't guarantee a clean harvest every time. You don't want to take a shot and have to track a wounded animal through 3 miles. Usually, when you take a shot like that and it's wounded that badly, usually the reason why you're following the trail is so that you can put it out of its misery when you finally catch up to it. And oftentimes it's collapsed, but it's not gone. Right? And then you have to end. So you don't want to lose track of it because it's going to suffer for a long time. That's why they track the thing more than anything else.
Put it out of its misery.
Yeah, because it could collapse 2 miles away and be in pain for like hours and hours and hours before it expires from, so that's why they track it. And when you take really long distance shots, that might happen, right? But 300-ish yards, 350, it depends on the skill, but definitely 200. Any reasonable hunter can take that. No big deal.
That's probably why you have the confidence to do that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I've seen the conspiracy theories. Like people don't believe that this guy was that young, was able to plan this and actually get away with it. Because of course, he was gone for 33 hours. They weren't able to catch him.
Well, think about it. I mean, like the planning, because we talked about this before we had any news at all. I gave my opinions about how, because Raymond, you originally thought that it was a professional hit, remember?
I thought it was because the way it happened.
And then I told you, if it was a pro, these are what you should look for, right?
Right.
Okay.
If he left the murder, we talked about if he left the murder weapon or not.
So
the engraving of the shell casings.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So I said that because we knew the distance already. We'd heard the distance the shot was taken from, 200 yards, and I said
we knew 200 yards.
And I said that if it was 200 yards, because we weren't sure yet, but if it was 200 yards, it wouldn't take crazy skill, right? And it wouldn't take a specialized weapon. I mean, it wouldn't take a highly modified weapon.
No.
So we watched the video, right? We watched the video and we heard the shot.
Yep.
Right? So that means that the weapon was unsuppressed, right? So it was loud. It went loud, right? Okay. So 200 yards, I guessed it was either going to be a 30-06 or a 308. That would be my guess. 200 yards. I wouldn't use a 223. We talked about that, the calibers.
Yeah,
right?
Caliber.
Yeah, 223 is what the AR-15 fires. It's doable, but in reality, it's light for that. I mean, a lot of things could affect its travel, right? And they're more expensive. You can pick up like 308 or 30-06 rifle for next to nothing, essentially, because they're so common, and there's a lot of cheap ones made that are accurate, right? So I said that they would either use a 30-06 or 308. It would be a bolt-action hunting rifle, very common one. If it was a pro, they get a very common rifle using common ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
That being the case, they could smuggle it into place ahead of time. They could look out. They could keep a lookout at their nest, and if nobody discovers it, they can safely go in and do the deed, right? And then when they made their getaway, they can just leave it there, because nothing about the equipment will say anything about them. Right. The weapon has all the serial numbers scrubbed. There's no trace DNA on it, nothing. You get nothing from it. If the ammo is commonly found in any sporting goods store, you get nothing from it. Ammo has no serial numbers. so you can leave it there safely because they're going to find it anyway at some point in time, right? And you definitely don't want it found on your possession, right? So you don't want to take it home, right? Because that's evidence against you. I mean, like, finding the rifle on the roof of a building is one thing. Finding it in your closet is another.
Yeah.
Right. So I said that he would use a very common weapon, very common ammo. He'd leave it there, and he'd make his escape. And they'd find it, and there's no evidence that can lead them, no clues to lead them anywhere. Right. That's what I thought would happen. What happened was it was a common hunting rifle, but he took it with him.
Yeah, was walking up the street with it.
He engraved the ammunition casings, right, with messages. I mean, there's all sorts of things I can trace back to him now. He walked out with the weapon wrapped in a towel and then left it in the woods with the intent of coming back for it later, which was actually discovered in messaging sent back and forth with his roommate.
Yeah.
So the dude intended to go back and get the... It's like, come on, dude. You just killed somebody with it. Why do you want to get it back as evidence? I mean, like, it cost you like $400 maybe. Just ditch it.
There was it'd be interesting if his roommate was, because it was a person that made a video before the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and it was a trans person talking about you're gonna see what happens when he comes.
Oh God,
you know what I'm saying? Like, see what happens tomorrow, and it'll be interesting if that is actually
here's something that has bothered me a bit, right? The messaging between what's the guy, Tyler something? What's his last name? The shooter, Tyler something? Tyler.
I don't know the name of the shooter.
I want to say Williams. Anyway, but the shooter is messaging back and forth with his roommate.
Robinson.
Tyler Robinson. He was telling his roommate to go get the gun, I believe. Right? Thing is this, if the roommate I left it wrapped in a towel at this certain place, right? Thing is that roommate should be right now viewed as an accomplice.
Definitely an accomplice.
Because if I'm saying, dude, I'm like, if I'm typing, Quentin, dude, I left the gun wrapped in a towel in the woods over by the creek. Dude, go get it before the FBI finds it. Dude, you are an accomplice.
I'm involved.
You're involved in that because you know details. He's like, it's like, if I got a message, if you got a message like that for me, it'd be like your reaction would be, what gun? What are you talking? I mean, like, what are you talking about, right? But obviously, and I wouldn't even send you that message because if you didn't know about it, if you didn't know details about what I was going to do, why would I send you messages like that? Anyway, so that's where that's at. So that's what we know. So the guy's not a pro. So he's not a professional. He is an experienced shooter, taking a standard hunter distance shot. Okay. I do believe that he was not aiming at the neck. He was aiming at his head.
And got the neck.
He got the neck instead. A little bit of a drop. I mean, he's shooting from an elevated position. A little bit of a drop. Okay.
He got lucky.
Actually,
he was gonna miss, really.
Yeah. So if you think about it, so this is what he was aiming. He really shouldn't be aiming for this anyway. But I believe that Charlie Kirk wears body armor. I think
you know what? I mean, looking at him, I don't think he had body armor.
It doesn't. I don't think he did. And if he did wear armor, it wasn't the kind that could defeat a hunting round.
Oh no! It wouldn't have defeated it.
Because you see sheriffs wearing armor with trauma plates, and it bulks them up. You can see it underneath their shirts, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was wearing armor or not. I don't think he was, but he might have been. But in any case, this guy was shooting for his head, and I think hit him in the neck back. I mean, still,
he could have missed, and this would have been. It would actually make Charlie Kirk bigger.
Yeah,
if he would have survived.
It made him bigger now anyway. But
because a lot of people didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
and I kind of bring it back to just the whole not letting people provoke you. Because I mean, like I'm saying, this Generation YN.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? YNs are known to crash out. That is the key term with YNs.
Yeah.
They will crash out. And this guy crashed out over a person who didn't even know him.
I mean, the the YN thing. I mean, they just make they're easily driven to bad decisions that they can't come back from.
Easily, the crash out kings.
Yeah.
We have never seen a generation of people that crash out over the smallest things.
Like, okay, so like, the generous,
Charlie Kirk ain't never killed nobody.
like even small things, right? Like they freak out about the tiny people. I mean, it happens to other people too, but they'll freak out over the tiniest things, the littlest
Yeah.
things that most people will suck up.